Hi there, my name is Joseph Rude, and I'm a kindergarten teacher in Portland, Oregon, and this presentation represents some of my beliefs as a teacher. I come from a postmodernist perspective, so I'm a little hesitant to get behind ideologies, but I will be covering some key beliefs and ideas that I feel, in my experience, have some objective truth. I hope you enjoy. So, a little about myself. I was raised in a middle-class family in a suburban city called Hillsboro, just outside of Portland, Oregon. My father is a plumber, and my mom became disabled when I was in high school. I am the first of my family to graduate college, and I went on to earn a master's degree in early childhood education. Hillsboro, where I grew up, is remarkable for a few reasons. One, it is the home of Intel, and two, it has a high Latino and Hispanic population, about 25%. Which is the highest in the Portland metropolitan area. I went to an elementary school called W. L. Henry. It is now an all bilingual school. However, in the 90s, when I went, the dual immersion approach was not embraced by the voters. W. L. Henry back then had a 50% Hispanic population, but now it's at 83%. I was close friends with all the Hispanics, all the way from kindergarten through high school. Being so close with my Hispanic and Latino friends gave me a lifelong appreciation of their culture and values. I went on to marry a Latina and to live in South America for 3 years. So with that little intro out of the way, here are some of my thoughts on education. So I believe that mainstream education creates a lot of barriers for minorities, and it prevents them from being successful. As all my Latino friends went through the public school system, us native English-speaking kids always watched as they were quietly segregated out of the classroom because the ELLs had to leave for ESL class every day, and they missed out on a lot of the curriculum, and it made us feel separated. I don't know how many hours of instruction they lost, but their grades reflected it, and so did their confidence in a lot of subjects. Moving into middle school and high school, many became frustrated with the tests and dropped out or had to work to support the family. My friend Jose was always the smartest kid in the class. Everyone knew it. He was a natural leader. He was amazing. But the rigid English-only mainstream curriculum that was once thought to help Latinos assimilate better, which would allow them easier access to jobs and opportunities, didn't help him. Last time I saw Jose, he had his driver's license revoked and was working construction. Overall, I don't know of any of my Hispanic friends that made it to college. Even if they wanted to go to college, most of them couldn't because their GPA was too low in high school to be entered in for the minimum requirements for the local colleges. This failure by the education system could easily be construed as subordination from the dominant society. The gates of opportunities always led my friends into another direction of lower pay and less favorable combination of circumstances. I also maintain that if a diverse school community has a majority minority, that school should provide a bilingual program to reach them. That is, it should teach both English and the home language of that majority minority. An analogy I like to use is if the mainstream drives cars, but the majority minority don't have cars, we should provide public transit. Having both helps everyone, especially if one mode breaks down. The school I teach at has an amazing principal and staff, and the demographics of the school is about 45% Hispanic, 15% white, and about 7% black, and the rest are separated between about 24 different languages. And although the Hispanics are the majority of the population, the curriculum is English only for a few reasons, but most importantly, the school's population has too high of a mobility rate, and they think that it wouldn't be an effective long-term implementation because of the mobility rate. But I question this logic because regardless if the students come and go, learning the language of the community is tremendously important, whether they leave or stay. Moreover, if one argues that other languages are being ignored in favor of Spanish, I would counter that the school system can only do best, pragmatically speaking, to ameliorate the language gaps that are missing in the curriculum. And another point I would argue is that the multicultural students who speak the 22 languages, whom suffer some native language loss as a result of the English/Spanish bilingual program, would actually gain an important asset in being able to speak both of the dominant languages of the community in which they're living. Students who come from varied backgrounds oftentimes already speak more than one language, and research shows that if you know more than one language, you can learn new languages easier. Another belief I hold is that learning a second language opens your worldview up to perspectives and experiences that remain hidden without the key of language. Living in Colombia, South America, I became part of a family. We went on family outings, celebrated holidays together, and became integrated in each other's lives. And we would have long conversations in Spanish where we would talk about what it means to be American. And the Latinos, everywhere I spoke with them, always took a little bit of offense to the term American, because they believe that we are all Americans, all the way from Mexico to Chile. And they have a special term for us even. It's Norteamericano, which means North American. Also, our country is never called America in Spanish. It's always Estados Unidos, which means United States, but never America. This worldview is based on a sophisticated perspective that there are 6 continents on the planet, not 7. American schools teach students that there are 7 continents, and they do this by dividing North America from South America. However, South American schools teach that North America and South America are actually one continent. This divide appears to be based on political decisions by the dominant society in the United States, instead of being a decision based on science. Because as we look, we can plainly see that North America and South America are connected through Mexico and Central America. And I feel this misconception that we are taught has implications that foreclose on the idea that we could all actually be Americans, which would lead to maybe us beginning to see each other as more than just through our nationalist identity lenses. And I question the motives behind this mainstream teaching, and I call out the hidden curriculum here that indoctrinates us to think that there is an us and them. When we look at Mexico, Central America, and South America as the other, we turn our attention away from the well-chronicled exploitation that the U.S. government has been doing in those countries for many years. And the last point I'll make here is that this exploitation is one of the main reasons that Latin American immigrants have been forced to seek a better life in the United States and end up being the majority of a lot of our schools. Lastly, I believe that if the educational system was really meritocratic, Latinos would be as successful as other groups, but it is not. Latinos drop out of high school at greater rates, and their graduation rates are low too. The idea that those who are the most talented, the hardest working, and the most virtuous should get the most rewards doesn't end up happening. Instead, what happens is English language learners can work twice as hard as the English speaking students and still not be successful and graduate high school. The odds are just stacked against them, especially against students like I grew up with. Most of my kindergarten students now come in not knowing their letters, sounds, or numbers. At home, they are materially deprived. They don't have a computer or internet. They're just happy with food. If the education system is supposed to sift and sort students into their correct places in the world, why do so many Latinos not graduate, or graduate and not go to college? I think some of the best and brightest minds, like my friend Jose, are being stepped on and stepped over. I believe if the system was meritocratic, it would see each language as an asset, and in a multicultural world, becoming biliterate, bilingual, and bicultural would support the talented and hardest working, while also leveling the playing field for minorities. And I like this image. I like both the images because they really address the truth that one can work as hard as they want, but the game is rigged. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I had a lot of fun researching and developing it. Thanks.